Welcome to Fuelcast, your go-to space for inspiring, engaging, and uplifting conversations, connecting those who want to make a difference in the lives of our children and communities. Together, we are fueling Georgia's future, one conversation at a time. It's now time for Fuelcast Georgia.
Welcome to another exciting episode. We have some very special guests joining us today from a local school district, Gwinnett County Public Schools. Welcome to Fuelcast. I am your host, Rolandria Boyce, but you can call me Ro.
And I'm your co-host, Anna Coleman, and we are so excited to be back here in our studio with some very special guests. So who do we have joining us today, Ro?
So we have some very special guests joining us today from Berkmar High School and Gwinnett County Public Schools, but we're joined by their leader, Chef Preston Gouge. We're going to have a conversation with him to learn a bit more about their process.
Welcome to Fuelcast, Preston.
All right, it's nice to be here with you, Anna and Ro. I appreciate y'all having me on.
We're happy to have you here. So before we start our conversations with our guests, we always want to learn a little bit more about you. So tell us about you. Where did you grow up and how did you get into this career?
Absolutely. I grew up like many of the students that I teach in Lilburn. I went to Parkview High School myself, and I also attended Maxwell in my senior year. And that's really where my love for cooking started. You know, I was actually in the cafeteria at Parkview one day, and I looked over and I saw this guy with a welding mask on, and I was like, what's he doing? And then he started yelling out, you know, sign up for Maxwell, you can sign up over here. And I was like, well, I don't really have anything going on. I don't know what I want to do, so why not just go and see what they've got to offer? Yeah. And from there, I saw they had the culinary arts program, so I enrolled, and thankfully I got selected, you know, because it's kind of like a lottery system. Right. And so I got selected, and that's really where I met a lot of great friends that I'm still in touch with today. And I met my wonderful mentors, Chef Grant and Chef Williams over there. Wonderful. And they really laid down the foundations to help me, you know, kickstart this passion and career in culinary arts.
That's wonderful to hear, and we're excited about hearing how you brought all of that full circle too.
Right.
So you touched on that a little bit, but I understand you have quite the background with culinary, that you actually in 2018 were part of the winning student chef competition team that went on to represent Georgia at the Southeast Region competition, and y'all won that competition as well. Can you tell us what it was like participating in that as a student? And then how did that influence your decision to ultimately become an educator yourself?
Absolutely. So, you know, during that process, I think at that time it was called Shake It Up, right? Mm-hmm. That was back when it was called that. So, you know, we were trying to shake up those recipes and really figure out what was trendy and what we as students would like to see in the cafeterias. You know, it really gave me a deeper understanding into the process that all of the cafeteria managers have to go through, and all of the intense, you know, rigorous limitations that they have nutritionally, and it just really gave me a passion to learn about different, you know, perspectives in the culinary field. You know, because most of the time as a student you go in thinking, oh well, I want to be a chef, right? Right. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways that can look, especially with this competition. You get to see, you know, cafeteria chefs, or you know, maybe think about nutritional avenues for jobs and careers.
I have a sneaking suspicion you'll say yes, but would you recommend the culinary education or school nutrition chef path to other trained chefs?
Absolutely. I think that it's a great way to tie in the industry experience that you gain while also having, you know, that rewarding feeling of giving these kids a nutritious meal. And, you know, adding your creativity to the menu that maybe, you know, could add in different options, right, that aren't already existing. You know, like I definitely drew on inspiration from my culinary experience after going to Sullivan University and working throughout the Southeast. I even traveled to Argentina at one point during my externship. And worked with Chef Richard down there, and that's kind of where I drew on inspiration for the chimichurri sauce, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a great job for any culinary professional.
Wonderful, and it's wonderful to hear how you take that passion and experience and use it to give back to the next generation of students and chefs.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely. So speaking about giving back, we want to kind of talk about the full circle of all of this. So what was it like coming back to the Student Chef competition as an advisor and seeing your team win the state title in their very first year? What was that like for you?
It was exhilarating. I mean, you know, going into it, I had such a fire and passion inside that I wanted to share with them, and they picked up on it. And, you know, we just drilled it day after school, you know, making the dish.
Yeah.
Well, you know, coming up with the dish and then practicing and going through the same steps that I went through when I was in culinary school. You know, just building that foundation, you know, showing them that it takes dedication, it takes repetition, and you know, once you put all of those things together, you can be successful. Whatever you put your mind to, you can see it come to fruition.
Absolutely. So you kind of mentioned this already, but why do you see the value in having students compete in the competition?
Well, the reason why I like to involve the students in this competition or any competition is just so they can get outside of their comfort zone.
Yes.
Right? I think a lot of students, especially after COVID, don't have those social skills that they need, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of students that don't even look me in the eye as I'm greeting them, and I'll you know, try to take a second and be like, hello,
I'm here.
hello. So I think it gives them a chance to build those communication skills. There's opportunities for them to work on their adaptability, right? It takes a lot of adaptability working with limitations. So how do we overcome these limitations to build a successful meal or project or whatever it is that we're working on? You know, they get the chance to build their professional skills. You know, like for example, coming here to the Georgia Department of Education, you know, my students are talking to professionals and learning how to be professional themselves, right?
Yes.
How to conduct themselves in that manner.
I love all of that. We talk a lot about how school nutrition can be vital in supporting social emotional learning, and everything you've mentioned is a part of that. We're helping them see life through the lens of maybe culinary and all the practices. How can these activities have multiple applications? So I appreciate you bringing that out. I'm curious to know, what was the recipe development process like with working with the students?
Absolutely. So, you know, I definitely drew inspiration for the recipe development from the last time that, you know, I worked on this, and I just observed the way that the cafeteria is run. I even involved the students with that process. We took them up to the cafeteria and spoke with Miss Francesca, who's the culinary, you know, cafeteria manager up there. And I just wanted them to know, okay, well, if we're making a dish, it's not being made in this classroom setting that we have, because our room is an old home economics room. So, you know, we have to work and be adaptable and work over those limitations. So, you know, I took them up to the cafeteria and showed them what it looks like, just like my mentor did for us. And we got to see what types of equipment that they had to work with, because that's really, as a chef, the first thing that I have to take into consideration, right? I can't make a dish if we don't have the equipment to make it, right? So that was step one, and step two is just figuring out, okay, well, what are the trends right now? What are people going after? You know, what kind of foods are students ordering on Uber Eats, or what are they going out to get? You know, what draws them in? So that was step two. And then from there, we just played around with different ideas, you know, worked with the USDA ingredients and also the Georgia produce that is in season. So that's kind of an overview of that process.
I love how you embedded the evaluation, needs assessment. You identify what are the needs, what are the trends, so that you're meeting the target audience needs from a perspective that they want.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah. We even took into consideration the student body that we have. At Berkmar, we're about 80% Hispanic. So we definitely drew inspiration off of the community that we're trying to engage and serve.
Awesome.
You know, and it's wonderful. You're talking about, you know, these communication skills, about, you know, trial and error, working hard, doing things again. At the Georgia Department of Education, really, our main goal is preparing all students for life. And so this competition is really representative of more than just cooking. It's those skills that they can take with them wherever they go. And so that's amazing. And so your culinary students had the opportunity to work alongside some of those Gwinnett County school nutrition professionals to prepare and serve their winning recipe to their fellow students during school lunch, which is incredible. And we also saw some of the Gwinnett County culinary students aided the school nutrition program again with the Taste of College event that they had. So what was the partnership between Gwinnett County culinary instruction and school nutrition like, and how did that come to be?
When we were competing at the state level, we met chefs like Chef Mike and Chef Rachel, and we also met the lead nutritionist for Gwinnett County. And from there, she invited us to the Taste of College, and I thought it was a great way to get the kids involved and get them out of the classroom to see more of what it's like to be inside of the school cafeterias, especially for an event like this, right, where they're, you know, tasting foods that they can expect when they go to college. You know, a little bit different than what they typically get. I assume that the restrictions on the nutrition are a little bit different, so it was pretty cool to get them engaged with chefs from around the county, and you know, for myself to work with them and see how they've partnered with the colleges, and you know, highlighting those recipes in the school cafeteria. I mean, all the students that got the food there, they had such a big smile on their face. You know, everybody in the school was talking about it. Oh, today we're getting birria tacos, you know, and elote. So it was pretty cool to see that, you know, excitement from the students.
And they're getting that hands-on experience. I know you mentioned earlier about the home ec classroom, you know, and how that transfers to the professional kitchen. So what better experience than to be right there in a school cafeteria working alongside that school nutrition staff?
Absolutely, yeah. They got to use equipment that we don't really have. So, you know, I was a little nervous at first just because we haven't trained with everything. But, you know, they did just fine. They listened and executed everything with such grace, and you know, I was glad that everybody had a great experience at the end of the day.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So K-12 culinary culture, quality school meals is like the heart of our program. So you have a very unique perspective as a culinary teacher and as a trained chef. For you, what does quality school meals mean to you?
For me, quality school meals would mean, you know, obviously having rich nutrients that the kids can, you know, get. They might not get that at home every day. It's unfortunate, but you know, at least we can provide that for them at school. It's really cool to see how, as Georgia, we're working towards promoting local produce and stimulating the economy here that we have, and drawing on all of that fresh produce that we can implement in cafeterias. I think that's what it means for me. I have such a connection to local grown produce through my time working at Miller Union here in Atlanta, as well as the Gray in Savannah. Those were very farm-to-table restaurants. And I loved working, you know, under Chef Steven and Mashama, because their passion for connecting communities and uplifting these farmers is really what we need.
Awesome. I think your students are very fortunate to have access to you and your skill level and your experience, because that's the dots have been connected just in this brief conversation. So we appreciate the work that you're doing in Gwinnett County.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure and really an honor to be in this position.
Awesome.
So Chef Preston Gouge, as a Georgia public school graduate and now have returned to be a culinary instructor in Gwinnett County, we have an initiative at the Georgia Department of Education, Teaching the Peach, which is really focused on retaining teachers and attracting new talented teachers to come and work with Georgia students and be the future of education. What fuels your passion for education and makes you want to continue to come back year over year and work with these students?
Absolutely. I think that at least in the county that I'm from, Gwinnett, there are a lot of opportunities for the students to get their hands in whatever interests them, whether it be, you know, broadcasting or culinary, or, you know, any of the CTAE jobs that can connect those students to those real life skills. So that's part of the reason why I enjoy it myself, is because we have such a vast variety of, you know, pathways that these students can get involved in. You know, it's not just, obviously we have great educators and a great system that teaches them those core, you know, values and knowledge that they need to know, but we also have, you know, the trades that they can get involved in, whether, you know, welding, construction. We have a really good construction program at Berkmar, as well as film. So that's part of the reason why I myself love working for Georgia and Gwinnett in particular.
It's that finding what the students are passionate about and really preparing all students for life and for those future careers, wherever that may take them.
Exactly, whether it's entrepreneurship, enlistment, enrollment, you know, we have all of those different options for them.
Wonderful.
We've had a wonderful discussion with Chef Preston Gouge with Gwinnett County Public Schools and Berkmar High School. We really do appreciate your commitment to ensuring the success of your students through culinary arts. He spoke so much about adaptability and not only giving children skills for culinary, but also giving them skills for life. So we appreciate you joining us today. We thank you for your support of students and your support of the culinary arts.
Absolutely. You know, I just appreciate everyone taking the time to highlight the good work that we're doing out here in the state. And yeah, let's just keep up the good work, I guess.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Preston.
We had a wonderful opportunity to talk to Berkmar High School culinary teacher, Chef Preston Gouge. Now we have the exceptional opportunity to talk to members of that student chef competition team. We have Joshua and Jason joining us. All right, guys, so I have a few questions for you, okay? Okay, so what made you want to pursue the student chef competition?
Well, ever since I was a kid, I always saw my mom in the kitchen, always cooking and everything. And I'd just be sitting there talking to her, doing my homework all the time. And this one time I remember where my mom was a little stressed out and I wanted to help her out a bit. Yeah. And she said, no, mijo, no necesito ayuda y todo eso. And basically, ever since that day, I just kept on persisting and asking her, Mom, can I help? Can I help? Can I help with something? And then I think at one point she got fed up. And she was like, yeah, you can. Here, cut these vegetables for me. And I was like, okay. And I started cutting. And ever since that day, I fell in love with cooking. Just the passion of how you can take something raw and make it into something beautiful and tasty. And I think that's what lit the fire for passion. That's what lit the passion for me.
Wonderful.
To pursue that culinary pursuit thing, yeah.
It truly is an art, right? So
Yeah.
you know, like with regular visual arts, you may take a pile of Play-Doh, but you can sculpt it into something beautiful, very similar to
Exactly.
culinary
Yeah,
arts.
exactly.
So Jason, what about you?
Honestly, as school progressed and I got older, I pretty much had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. It mostly took until I found this website called Virtual Job Shadow. I don't know if you heard of it. Took a survey, and I found that some culinary jobs are my best fit according to that website. That thought has been living in my head rent-free ever since, mostly throughout high school. I usually picked culinary arts as my main electives, but freshman and sophomore year, I was never able to get through.
Yeah.
So junior year, I was the class was kind of boring, honestly. So I was nearly on the brink of dropping out when Chef Gouge brought me into the classroom, well, outside of the classroom, and he was like, hey, we're looking for a manager or someone to fill a spot of someone who just quit. So I was like, might as well do something outside of school instead of just staying at home all day. So that's when I ended up taking the job as the team manager of this team. And yeah, it's been pretty fun ever since.
Well, hats off to you for being curious about identifying what your potential options could be for a career path. Chef Gouge talked a lot about culinary arts kind of being a space for you to learn and adapt to life. And I think you kind of found your way that way. You know, you figured out that culinary was of interest to you and you found a way to get yourself involved. So hats off to you, Jason.
Thank you. I'm just hoping that it could probably be my life profession. I'm just hoping so.
It could be, and very much like Chef Gouge, you get an opportunity to bring it back to your district and it comes all full circle. So you think about, he was a former student and he had an opportunity to bring his skill back to the district, and look where you all are.
I'm grateful that he given us this opportunity.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. So I'll start with you, Jason. So how do you think the skills you learned in the competition experience will help you later in being prepared for life?
One of the main things I think about when it comes to life and relation to this competition is a form of leadership. especially towards a group which probably cannot lead themselves. Sometimes people need a leader to, guide them or put them on the right track. Or I've been grateful that I've been able to get out of my comfort zone and take some leadership, like guide the team towards like a proper plan on how we create the dish. So as I go further in life, I can probably do the same for when I take a new leadership role in another business, or perhaps start a business myself, i.e. Creating a restaurant or just managing a restaurant.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful job, though. Leadership is so vital. We always need good leaders to move initiatives forward. So the fact that that's a takeaway for you as a result of your experience with the competition, we always need good leaders. They typically provide the framework to help ensure things are successful. They set the goals, which I think that's probably a lot of what you do, is making sure that we set the goals and we move them forward. So that's an exceptional response. Leadership is very important everywhere in life. So Josh, what about you? I'm going to read the question again, okay? How do you think the skills you learned in the competition experience will help you later in being prepared for life? I know Jason spoke a lot about leadership. What are your thoughts?
Well, I feel, as Jason said, I learned leadership, which is a very important life skill that you're going to need throughout your life, whether you need it at your job, with your family, or wherever, or maybe in the competition like we are. And I feel like, yeah, that's a very important life skill we need. He's on point with the leadership, that it really is a necessary and important life skill you need to gain throughout your life. You're always going to need leaders in this world. And I feel like a leader should also go with communication skills, which is something that I learned at being with the Berkmar Culinary Department. And when I joined the Berkmar Culinary Department, my communication skills weren't that good, since I was always the shy kid, always in the corner by himself. And I was just there, sitting there one day, and then my other culinary teacher came up to me. He was like, "Joshua, I have a competition for you that I need you to do for me, since I saw your amazing knife skills and everything." And I was like, "Okay." And ever since that day, I've been talkative. I've been talking to a lot of people. I've been getting out of my comfort zone, doing stuff I don't want to, doing stuff that back then I'd feel uncomfortable and I just want to curl up in a ball and hide away.
Yeah.
But now I'm able to talk about my opinion and everything, and not only that, but that also helped my team to success, winning the state competition and stuff like that.
See, you guys should both be very proud of yourselves. I see leadership in you all. When you all entered the room, it was evident that you all are leaders, not only on the competition team, but likely in your building. You came in very confident. You all communicated effectively. You have great eye contact, so I want to give you kudos for that. Don't let those skills go away. Continue to hone them and sharpen them as you move through this process, okay?
Okay.
We
All
surely
right.
will.
Thank you so much.
What was your perception of school meals before working with the school nutrition staff?
Well, ever since my freshman year, when I saw the lunch food that they were serving pizza, wings, roast beef, stuff like that. It looked appetizing to me, to say the most. And I don't think it's changed. I don't think it has changed in a negative way, but I think it changed in a positive way, since now I realize the effort and the thought they put into it just to make that meal appetizing, and not only that, but nutritious, to give us the necessary nutrients. And I feel like I've gained a more positive opinion on school lunch.
That's a wonderful perspective. Kind of seeing it differently doesn't always have to be perceived as negative. You took the opportunity to see it as a positive and ultimately respect the work that goes into preparing meals, right?
Yeah.
So, Jason, what about you?
Honestly, I didn't really care about how the school nutrition was. All I was worried about was just
Eating.
Just eating it straight up. But then when I joined the team and Chef Gouch started explaining to us, or Michael Dubose started explaining to us about how the nutrition works, I was starting to think, since we were able to bring a little piece of home to school cafeterias across Georgia, I was thinking many people can probably do the same. that can also match school nutrition as well as bring a little piece of home, great taste, a great representation of their heritage.
So basically, like prior to becoming or having exposure to the school nutrition staff, you were just concerned with eating.
Pretty much.
So once you had access to them, what changed? What did you see that was different?
I saw more of how some meals were like, they focused on tasting great, but not necessarily on being healthy, you know?
Okay.
But then as I joined the team and nutrition was explained more to me and the team, I was thinking more like, I was more focused on which nutrients are more necessary for the human body in terms of how the school meals were.
Did you see them do any kind of work in the kitchen that was curious to you, that piqued your curiosity, that helped shift your perception of school meals?
Definitely, really.
So we just had a wonderful conversation with two of the Student Chef Competition team winners from Berkmar High School. We had Joshua and Jason joining us. We are so appreciative you all took the time to have this conversation with us today. We thank you and keep moving forward, guys, okay?
We will. Thank
All
you.
right.
All right, y'all just heard Ro have the opportunity to speak with Joshua and Jason from the first place winning Berkmar High School culinary team. And we are back now with the second half of this fantastic group of students. I'm here with Evan and Tatiana.
Hi guys.
Welcome, y'all. And so one of the things that we talked about with your instructor, Chef Gouge, was that y'all really wanted to make a dish that felt representative of the student body of your high school and of the flavors that you like and what you wanted to see as part of school meals. And so to kick things off, can y'all give our listeners a little bit of info about your dish in Spanish?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Entonces, buenas tardes. Soy Ivan, el cocinero,
Yo soy Tatiana, soy la segunda chef.
y somos el equipo
Chimimor.
Chimimor. ¿Vale? Entonces, nuestro platillo es el pollo estilo churrasco. Entonces, nuestro platillo tiene 3 componentes: el arroz, el pollo y nuestra salsa especial, la salsa chimichurri, ¿vale? Entonces, vamos a empezar con el arroz. El arroz es cocinado estilo pilaf y tiene pimentón y cebolla. Entonces, Tatiana, ¿los explicarías lo demás?
Claro. Para la preparación del pollo se necesita medio limón, azúcar morena, sazonamiento, y para la salsa chimichurri se necesita aceite de olivo, sazonamiento, paprika y vinagre de
Vino rojo.
vino rojo.
Sí, sí.
Nosotros tomamos la inspiración ya que nos dimos cuenta que en nuestro condado la mayoría de personas son hispanas, es un 80% de hispanos, y nosotros nos dimos cuenta que en las cafeterías no dan esos sabores que nosotros tanto amamos, tantos como son de Latinoamérica y Sudamérica. I would like to say that the skills that I've learned through all this competition is that about adaptability and professionalism, also communication. That literally helped us to get help each other while we're doing the competition, and yes. Lo que yo aprendí en todo esto del programa de culinaria fue la adaptabilidad, el profesionalismo y la comunicación, ya que todo eso nos ayudó para que nos pudiéramos apoyar cuando estábamos en ese momento de la competencia.
I did learn a lot of stuff from my experience at Berkmar Culinary, but one of the things I would like to mention is communication. You know, when I first started off as a beginner, I didn't like to communicate a lot between my peers, people I was working with. But Berkmar Culinary has taught me how to speak with others more professionally and be more outgoing, you know what I'm saying? Uno de los rasgos que he desarrollado aquí en la culinaria de Berkmar es la comunicación. Entonces, cuando yo iba empezando como un principiante, no me gustaba hablar tanto con mis compañeros, con las personas que estaba trabajando, ¿no? Entonces, nuestro chef nos enseñó la importancia de la comunicación y se necesita bastante en la cocina, ¿vale? Porque le tienes que decir a alguien si tienes un cuchillo o si tienes algo muy caliente, entonces sí.
Thank y'all so much. Thank both of you for sharing that. That is fantastic. And so, to kick things off with just a couple of questions that I have for y'all to follow up, what made you both want to get involved with culinary arts and participate in the student chef competition?
So what made me get involved is that ever since middle school, I've heard about a culinary program at my high school, right? And I was like, you know what, I'm interested. I like cooking. I like making new friends, so why not? And at first, I came in expecting how to learn basic stuff, like chopping food, the different types of cooking. But I was proved wrong. This is something huge. Berkmar Culinary I'm very grateful for them because they've given me a lot of opportunities to, make this podcast, for example. I get to speak with people. I get to work with the Georgia Department of Education. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And Tati?
Sure. What I actually feel why I did get involved in this culinary program is because I would love to honor my family's legacy, because I'm sorry, I didn't mention this, but my family used to have a restaurant. Wow. So it was pretty famous. It was actually pretty nice. It was awesome. So when I came here, like to Georgia, I saw this culinary program. So I said, I need to take this opportunity. I need to get up more doors for me. What I know about, I really knowledge. And as Ivan said, I would love to give the best for children about nutrition. And the skills that I learned in the culinary class was to be more communicative with my teams, my peers, and learn some new cooking skills, as chopping, and measuring stuffs, which I really actually what I was said, I wasn't sure about to get all these new methods. So for me, I would love to share this experience because I feel that I got more knowledge when doing this competition. And actually would love to give the best to those kids that they're in this Georgia Department of School Nutrition.
That's fantastic. Y'all both touched on a lot of great things about how you were interested in cooking, and I love to hear the story about your family's restaurant and your career plans for the future, and I really hope to see that one day, but also the skills that you learned that you weren't expecting to learn about communication and teamwork and things that can prepare you for life no matter what field you're in. And it seems like y'all were really paying attention and learned a lot, so that is awesome. And so we saw that last school year, after y'all took first place, you had the opportunity to work with the school nutrition staff at your team and actually serve that winning recipe to your fellow classmates during lunch. So what was that like, and what was the reaction from your fellow students? Did they like the recipe? And we can start with you this time, Tatiana.
I would say that they love the dish. They love it.
Fantastic.
Some of our friends came up and said, bro, this is bomb. I love it. And I remember that you, Ivan, you said you guys also can grab more bowls if you want. But yeah, I'll say that our dish created a great impact because it's something that you won't see too often in cafeterias. So we wanted to share more flavors to the students in Berkmar High School. And we wanted to make feel more Hispanics that they're in home, that they recognize those flavors that they love, and yeah. So we wanted to bring a little piece of home to the cafeteria. So they're gonna feel more loved, I would say, and yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And I actually heard that they're planning on serving your recipe in all of Gwinnett County Public Schools this school year. So it's clear that impact has been tremendous in bringing those flavors in.
Yes.
What was your experience like, Evan?
Well, first off, I did love to work with the staff at my school because it helped me learn a lot about commercial kitchens, how people work together. So yeah, I did love working with the cafeteria staff. They're very nice. Shout out to Francesca. We got some pretty good reviews from the students. Not specifically my friends, but like people I didn't know of. They're like, yeah, this is very tasty. You know, I love that you considered the protein and carbs that we need for student athletes, right? Because a student athlete was talking to me.
Wow.
And yeah, they were like, yeah, this is amazing. One of the best dishes we have here at Berkmar High School. And, you know, I would love to see this more often. So, yeah.
That had to feel good, hearing that feedback from your peers, especially people that are not your direct friends. So you know they're being honest if they're going to come seek you out to tell you that. So that's fantastic. And so kind of going with that same question, and I know you mentioned having a passion for nutrition for students. We like to use a term here called quality school meals. And so there's no right or wrong answer, but when you hear the term quality school meal, what would that look like to you?
Well, for me, I'd rather say that the quality school meals will be some food that will keep you with your energy up and make you feel more satisfied and you're eating what your body actually needs. So it will contain a high nutritional value. That's actually a big important thing for me because, as I say, I would love to give the best to other peers, to roll those meals. So because as I know, some foods people don't like actually because I know that they might feel tired, which is a big concern for me because you know food is basically your boost up for energy, but what your body might require to feel. So you can even paying attention or when you're doing class, you might feel you won't be feel tired at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's gonna pump you up your energy levels. Your body's gonna feel awesome. You're gonna feel satisfied. You're gonna be doing more ahead of things. I'll say you're gonna be more in a good mood. You know what I mean? Yes.
That's fantastic. What about you? What do you think a quality school meal means to you?
So I do feel that Tati touched on most of my points, but there is one point that she hasn't considered yet, and it's that we want to make this food so everybody could eat it, you know. While making this dish, we did consider a lot of allergies, religion, because some people can't eat certain stuff, right? So we wanted to make our dish the most available as possible. So.
Those are all great points. So it's something that has the necessary nutrition to fuel you in school, tastes good, and you know is representative of your whole student body. I think that is a wonderful answer. So I have one more question for y'all. You've talked a lot about all of these skills and experiences and relationships you gained from this competition, which is so wonderful. But how do you ultimately think these skills that you learned in the competition will prepare you for your life?
Right. What I actually feel like super confident about these skills is because I would like to keep up with my family's legacy. I would love to study culinary, which is one of my goals once I go out of high school. I would like to become a specialist culinary, and all this knowledge that I gain in high school, I know that I'll be more familiar once I decide my career, what I'm gonna be on the culinary program. So I know that I'm gonna know some of the basics and some skills that I learned through high school in this beautiful Georgia Department of Education of Nutrition, which I will consider that you guys are giving me too many doors opens. So it's gonna be so much useful.
Wonderful.
All right. So what I think about the skills I have gained in culinary is that, you know, communication is a key asset, not just in school, but in your work. Personally, with family, friends, communication is key with everything, right? So I am grateful that culinary has taught me all these skills, such as communication and leadership, because I do think I can apply that to future careers that I might have later on in life.
Yes, that is fantastic to hear. And you know, you never know, you may end up being like your teacher one day, Chef Gouge, who started just where y'all are at and has come full circle, or open a restaurant, or whatever career you do. It's clear that y'all have really adapted a lot of these skills, and whatever you do, I'm sure you will be successful. So I really want to thank Evan and Tatiana for joining us today. This has been wonderful, and we can't wait to see what you guys do in the future.
Yes.
Want to learn more about school meals in Georgia? Here are 4 easy ways to stay in the know. Learn what's on the menu in your student's school. Follow your local school nutrition team on their social media accounts. Go eat a meal with your student in their school cafeteria. And as always, connect with us, the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Division, to know what's going on statewide. You can connect with us via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn with the hashtag FuelingGA. You can also email us at fuelingga@godot.org. Until next time, the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Division is fueling Georgia's future with excellence, one quality school meal at a time.
Thanks for joining us on Fuelcast Georgia. Want more of Georgia School Nutrition? Connect with us on social media using hashtag FuelingGA and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're here every month with new engaging guests and inspiring stories. Have questions or ideas for future topics? Email us at fuelingga@godot.org. Until next time, the Georgia Department of Education School Nutrition Division is fueling Georgia's future with excellence, one school meal at a time.